Hey, YouTubers, and welcome to the State of Joe. I'm Joe Santiago. It may be time to take humans out of the equation when it comes to policing other humans. We may want to find a way to use autonomous robots or possibly remote controlled Robocop type robots, or possibly with devices like the CEO of Tesla, Elon Musk's Neuralink, that allows you to hook your brain up to a computer using the brain mesh interface over the head to link your brain up to a computer. This technology might allow us the ability at some point to maybe program all of the robot's thoughts and reasonings, if you will. Then we could take more of the human aspect out of the law enforcement process. Also, this is something that will finally get us on board using robots in a more vast way. I mean, think about it. They don't complain. They don't have biases or prejudices. And you don't have to worry about any kind of substance abuse liabilities with robots. Also, robots won't ever call in sick, so that's another good thing. You don't have to worry about that. And the idea would be that a smaller fleet of officers monitor from the camera installed on the robot officers. Okay. Then they can send some human officers onto the scene once they figure out what's going on. Another thing they can do in the approach to stop police shootings would be to give police full, flexible, completely bulletproof body armor. Okay, and they would have to have a bulletproof glass kind of 360 face shield and head shield on there until they can figure something out, or if they can come up with a better plan for that. And then, if they had all that equipment, they wouldn't have to worry about getting shot as much if it's, you know, imperilous to pain, to bullets and stuff. So the other thing that I understand will be controversial for me to say, but to many, is they need to invent some kind of gun sensing device. All right, we're in the future here. It's time to start taking some drastic steps and measures to protect people and to help people and protect people from themselves, because they're going out and doing these crazy things and shooting people. And there's a question when a cop pulls up to a scene. Well, let's take the questions out of the equation here. Let's start using our technology to help us instead of just using technology for little mundane things like light switches and timers and little robots mowing the lawn and vacuuming your house. Let's start using them to actually help us, advance us, put us in a better place, okay? Because, back in the Garden of Eden, well, that was all about don't let them eat the fruit because they'll become like gods. They'll have the knowledge. It was the tree of knowledge. Well, that's technology. God gave us the technology to help us, but we have to harness it and use it properly to get us to become like gods. Now, what is God? Think to yourself, well, he's a compassionate, just, equal playing field kind of God, but he does what he wants to do. Also, he makes decisions that you might not agree with, but So we'll be able to become more like God. We'll be in his mindset and what he would do, that kind of thing. We'll be closer to what God would do. We would become more like gods. Um, that's one theory, the way of looking at it. Um, but yeah, we got to invent some kind of gun sensing device that uses something similar to the luggage x-ray scanner machines at airports. All right, I mean, maybe that technology also in conjunction with a pair of like zoom in goggles, um, that would help at crime scenes and suspected crime scenes that these shootings are happening at before they know what's going on. Okay. But I mean, I don't know. We got to do something here to try to figure something out, because this plan is not working. The way we do law enforcement is not working. Or maybe they could have a device that renders guns inoperable. Again, controversial. If it falls into the wrong hands, there's many questions. But you know, if there's more cops that would have this device. So I mean, if you think about it, one person pulls the device out, the other person pulls the device out. Well, now if you have other cops that can use the device, if a criminal has the device and renders the cops guns, it's all going to be a matter. There'll be more waste with guns and stuff, but if we're going to have guns and we're going to kill people and we're going to shoot people and we're going to have law enforcement and they're going to be shooting people, then we need to figure it out, because it's a problem and it needs to be figured out. We got to use common sense to figure it out. It's not that hard, really, when you think about it. Some of the steps we can take, and of course, if all this is implemented in ways and stuff, or over periods of time or whatever, however they do it, it can't just happen at once, obviously. But of course, routine traffic stops and police interaction will take a lot longer. But it's not like everything isn't already a hassle and taking way longer anyway, thanks to COVID-19. So we're primed for this, for the waiting and the slowing down of everything, and thinking of the process through before just jumping to conclusions and doing stupid things. But I really think that what could get us through this situation, this police brutality shooting situation here, is technology. Okay, just like these robots being part of the line of defense with specialized equipment and proper protective gear would be a big leap in the right direction. It really would. Instead of leaving it all up to the hair trigger cop that second guesses the situation, and these bulletproof officers that I'm speaking of with the armor and the shields around their faces and stuff should be highly trained men, all right, without doubt and fear of a confrontation of any kind. And when he has to use his weapon, he does so responsibly. All, of course, having the prerequisite of expert marksmanship abilities, striking their victims only in places like arms or legs to stop the suspect and simply get him cuffed and taken away, which is their job. It's not to just shoot people up. Not just, exactly, and not just shot numerous times in a nervous, shaky barrage of bullets. And they are supposedly already using remote remote control robots in war situations where the soldier sees what the robot's doing on the battlefield and stuff. They're testing them with the armed forces right now. They've been for a while now, at least for a couple of years, probably way longer than that. But they've been testing combat robot soldiers, in battle simulations and whatnot for a while now. So, in our justice system, we are guaranteed due process. And you have the opportunity to hire a lawyer, or you can get a public lawyer if you can't afford one. The point is, you are innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around, okay? This use of robots would allow us to evaluate the situation in a more controlled way and stop rogue cops from having a bad day affect their reaction to a suspected crime scenario, and would slow everything down a bit, because we all know what happens to humans' abilities to make spur-of-the-moment decisions in seemingly dangerous and guessing game situations, like many police officers find themselves in today. And implementing these remote robots will help law enforcement do their job better and more efficiently and smoothly, especially once they get the robot officer system steps all figured out. It will start going a lot smoother once they figure it out. Trial and error. You got to try new things. The old things aren't working. And I firmly believe this will put a stop to the shoot first, ask questions last mentality that we currently have out in the environment. That these rush job crime scenes are causing by not being patient and forcing officers to make poor, split decisions at potential crime scenarios. This is the step we need to slow down and have more control of the situation's results. It will stop officers from taking the role of judge, jury, and executioner, and will save countless lives. We just have to be willing to change the ways we do things as a human race. Use our brains and our future technology to advance us as a species, and not revert us back to the old Neanderthalic ways of conducting ourselves that are proven over and over again that these primitive paradigms do not work. And it's time for a major shift. This rioting will keep happening when an mostly unarmed black man, and in some cases black women now, are shot. We at least need to have a more diverse police force that more reflects and represents the type of people they are policing in their area and demographic. Similar to the affirmative action techniques used in college enrollment and in the job force, if we can't handle the system in its current state and current form, and we obviously can't, then we have no choice. We must evolve. So this is a very touchy subject. I know this is a strange take on it, but this is actually how we got to think. We got to think outside the box. Police are there to serve and protect. By doing this stuff, they're not serving and they're not protecting, and they're making things worse, and they're stirring problems up. They're stirring people up. Tempers are flaring. We have the wildfires going on. The smoke is now coming over into different parts of the country, and that's a problem. And you got the rioting, and the city's all starting up. Everything's going wacko and crazy. I hate to say it, but this is definitely, I would say, this is definitely the makings of an apocalypse, and we can change the course of it. We can stave it off for a while and hold it off, but eventually things happen and things must take place. But we can survive if we can evolve, if we can start treating each other right, more like God would treat somebody, instead of like a greedy human that is only out for material possessions and what they can get. We'll be a lot better off. So this needs to stop. And these police can't be killing people like this and killing certain people, and it's just adding up, and it's really bad, and it's going to keep getting worse. The more they have these shootings, you're going to have people taken to the streets and getting angry. They have no other choice. What are they supposed to do? You're violating their rights. You can't do that. You can't come in and just start shooting people. I mean, that's crazy. That's just the same thing that mass shooters are doing. They're just deciding and taking it upon themselves and going out and saying, well, it's similar. It's not the same thing, but when it comes down to the action and the light switch flicks off in their head and they're not thinking and they're blacking out and they're just doing their thing, it's the same idea. They lose all reality and they lose all control, and they're not thinking clearly, and they're not figuring out what they need to do, and they're not doing their job, which is to serve and protect, not kill and disrespect. That's not their job. It's serve and protect, not disrespect and kill. So they need to figure that out, and it doesn't matter what you have to do. You need to figure it out as soon as possible, because this is going to cause a big thing between civilians and cops. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. Then you're going to have the military involved and more, and you're going to have all these groups, these militia type groups involved, and they want to have their voice, and everybody wants to have their voice in the riots, and it's all going to be one big bloodbath. So let's try to avoid that, and let's fix this policing problem from a common sense approach and out of the box. Start thinking with our technology, using our technology, whatever we have to do. If we have to go from the drawing board and all the way up and figure it out, but we need to implement our technology. That is the key. So hope everybody's doing all right out there. I'm doing fine, hanging in there, and just keep up fighting, and fighting for what you believe in, and but also choose your battles and don't burn your bridges. Know when to say when, but and know your limits, like the Quran says. I've said before, well, that's one of the most, if there's anything I learned in that book, it's know your limits. And I'm starting to implement that, and I'm knowing my limits, and I can't be, the greatest person at work or the most civil person, or I'm going to screw up. I'm going to make, but I'm going to, I'm going to make mistakes, but I'm going to go out there and hold myself accountable for them. So keep your head up out there, and stay safe and be smart, and we'll get through this somehow, and but just by being diligent and being smart and being optimistic and positive about what we can, because there's all those other things we can't change what someone else thinks, or what they've been taught to think over the years, or how they were brought up affects them. And so we have to be compassionate and understanding, and and like it said in the piece of scripture I said in my last video, fools do not delight in understanding. Well, they don't want to get to the bottom of the problem. They just want to keep it going, keep the gridlock going, keep all the problems going. So they're fools if they want to do that. To not be a fool, you have to figure out and understand the situation. So with that, I'll let you go. Happy Sunday, and I will see you later. And the sun is going down, and I'm signing off, and everything is good. We'll do what we can, and just keep the faith, and peace out.